Where are you from? This is a question that some people think tells a lot about who you are as a person. Right? These kind of people might say that, oh, people from New York, they're rude and don't really care about strangers. People from the Midwest, oh, they're nice and sweet, maybe too much nice and sweet. If you're from Philadelphia, oh, you're loud and you like to party in the streets. Ask anybody from Texas what the difference between somebody from Austin, Dallas, or Houston is, and you're sure to get an essay-length response about the differences between these different kinds of Texans. While obviously not true in every single case, these stereotypes are held by a lot of different people, and they do think that it does explain the general differences between these kinds of people. These stereotypes are so popular, in fact, that they were even held in biblical times, as we'll see in this week's lectionary reading from the Gospel of John. The story begins with Jesus calling his new disciples. At the beginning of this story, he calls Philip, and Philip is so excited. Jesus says, "Follow me," and Philip says, "Yes, I'm going to go tell my friends I'm so excited to follow you." He then goes and tells Nathanael. Nathanael, however, is a bit more skeptical than Philip was. When Philip tells him that the one that they heard about in the books of Moses and in the prophets is here, and his name is Jesus, the son of Joseph, from the city of Nazareth, Philip doesn't quite believe that. Maybe he's heard this story before and has been burned by false messiahs. But the story tells us that his first response is, from Nazareth, nothing good can come from the town of Nazareth. Now, for context, Nazareth would have been a tiny, tiny little town, so small that it's not even mentioned really in sources outside of the Bible. Some estimates would have said that they had maybe 400 people for their entire population. All things considered, it's a nobody hick town, right? And the boonies of Israel. When was the last time anything important or good came from the town of Nazareth? But Philip's response, which is just so beautiful, I love it. He says, "Come and see for yourself." And Nathanael does. He goes to see Jesus. And Jesus sees Nathanael before he even comes and talks to him and says, "There is an Israelite who's not deceitful." He knows Nathanael and sees him. And Nathanael says, "How do you know who I am?" Jesus says, "I saw you earlier talking to Philip beneath the fig tree." Right? Jesus sees Nathanael, he knows who he is, and he loves him. He speaks truth into him, telling him these nice complimentary things. And Nathanael is just so awestruck by this moment of recognition where the supreme God of all sees who he is as an individual person and says, "I know you and I care about you." To which Nathanael replies, "You truly must be the Son of God, the King of Israel." This is actually the first time in the Gospel of John that these two titles are applied to Jesus. This is a powerful moment, right? And Jesus tells him, "You think that knowing that you were sitting beneath a fig tree with Philip earlier, that was cool? Follow me, and you'll see so much more." This does raise an interesting question, right? Why did Jesus, God, fully God himself, decide to come into the body of a lowly human being from the nobody hick town of Nazareth? Well, I think when we look at the ministry of Jesus, we can get one potential answer. A lot of Jesus' ministry was concerned with finding these people that were on the margins, that were from nobody towns like Nazareth, that were from professions that were societally unacceptable, like being a tax collector or being a prostitute. These people that are normally excluded and saying, "You're not part of us, you don't belong to us." And what Jesus did instead was say, no, not only are they a part of us and we just accept them, I actually, in fact, deeply love them and want them to be part of my community, my holy community. I know them and I love them. So when you're approaching this week, let's look at this story and think about how we can approach our lives. Are we like Nathanael? Are we skeptical of the nobodies, the margins, the people that are outcast from the hick towns and say, nothing good can come of them, they're not worth my time? Are we like Philip when we are called by Jesus, so excited to follow him that we immediately go and do the ministry of Jesus and start talking to our friends and loved ones about how great he is? What are the ways that we can come and see for ourselves just who Jesus is and the ministry he does in our lives? Maybe we are those excluded people that we need to feel included and loved. We need to be seen by Jesus and known by Jesus and loved by Jesus. But maybe we can do that ourselves. Maybe we're the kind of person that needs to do that work of inclusion. So this week, let's take a minute and think, how can we come and see the magnificent works of Jesus for ourselves and take up his commandment to follow him?